some breaking news about a story we were just talking about. Nancy Pelosi hinting that she would have more to say about the 25th Amendment tomorrow. My colleague Jeff Bennett, who's a White House correspondent but very well sourced on Capitol Hill as well, says Speaker Pelosi and Representative Jamie Raskin will introduce the Commission on Presidential Capacity to discharge the Powers and Duties of Office Act. It will create the process called for in the 25th Amendment to enable Congress to help ensure uninterrupted executive branch leadership. It seems that at least, and again, we should say that the first known sort of reported conversation about the 25th Amendment came from, I believe, New York Times reporting about Rod Rosenstein wanting to whip votes for the 25th Amendment after the firing of Jim Comey. Aides years later, I think, said that it was sarcasm, but didn't deny those conversations, which were accompanied by an offer to wear a wire to record Donald Trump. So it's not the first time that the 25th Amendment has come up in the context of Donald Trump, Steve Schmidt. But I guess my question is, how has he exacerbated or accelerated these conversations based on his handling of his own illness?
Well, Nicole, if you look at this period of time from the beginning of the debate through today, his behavior has just been completely unhinged. The debate was a national humiliation. He lacks self-control to a degree that he literally can't make it through a presidential debate. The issues around his taxes, the issues around his hospitalization, the return to the White House, it's just very erratic, very unhinged behavior. We see all the pathologies of this president playing out. And so by any standard, if this was the captain of an aircraft carrier, if this was the captain of a commercial airline or a tanker, or someone who was driving a school bus, they would be relieved of their duties. And that's exactly what this is. But now, at the end of the day, I do think it's important not to lose focus. This is in the hands of the American people. The American people are voting. We're seeing polls around the country showing Donald Trump down 10 points, 12 points, 14 points. So the hour of repudiation is at hand. This is all going down. The walls are coming down. The Senate Republicans know it. Everybody's just waiting for the moment of political death, which is at hand, because they lashed themselves to somebody who had no business being president, who's profoundly unfit and lacks the mental, lacks the intellectual, lacks the moral standing to be the leader of any nation, let alone the greatest nation in the world.
And we agree with the barking dog. David Plouffe, let me ask you, you sort of speak to, I think, you know, the politics are always head and heart. I mean, what does the head say about where the race is today? You look at sort of all the swirl that's out there, talk of the 25th Amendment, these weird videos the president keeps releasing, his, you know, trashing, doing anything from behind a computer, which, by the way, is how everyone with the privilege of being able to do things from behind a computer is living their lives. It's how most boys and girls in the school are going to school right now, in large part because of his failures. How does this all, like, what buckets does this go into when you look at the state of the race right now?
First, Nicole, I agree with Steve. I mean, I don't think it's helpful for Donald Trump that as people are voting and as we're this close to Election Day, you know, there's discussion of the 25th Amendment and whether he's mentally fit to stay in office. But the number that matters here is 270, the number of electoral votes to get rid of him, not the 25th Amendment. So back to debates, because I think it's an interesting way to talk about the race. All three of us have been part of terrible first debates for incumbent presidents. So when you bomb your first debate, as George W. Bush did in 2004 and as we did in 2012, you want to have another debate to recover your footing and to gain back ground that you lost. So Donald Trump's got a debate. If he doesn't, he's waving a white flag, because what he needs to do in this race, I don't think he can do it, but win all the undecideds, pull soft voters away from Biden, win the turnout war. He's not going to do it by doing videos on the South Lawn where he's a spray-tan, drugged-up pitchman for Regeneron, or through Twitter. He's got to do debates so he can reach people. And, of course, he's got to change his routine, because if he brings that to Zoom, much less at Town Hall, it's going to be a disaster. So, you know, the polls are where they are.
You can't just wait. Stop everything. A spray tan. Do that again. A spray tan what?
A spray tan, drugged up pitchman for Regeneron. I mean, it's like a bad prescription drug ad. You'd say at like 2:30 in the morning.
No, You know, I've got my, my editorial hat on, and it is all reportable and provable. We know the drugs he's on. Tony Fauci talked today about the effects of steroids. The appearance is visible to all, even though he'd like us not to believe what we see and hear. And he's acting like a pitchman for this drug. Here's what I always get to, though, with David Plouffe when it comes, or with Donald Trump, David Plouffe. Why? Every time he opens his mouth and talks about coronavirus, his political fortunes plunge. Why is he dug in? Why is he continuing down this path?
Well, I think people with that specificity and specialty in mental health will be examining that for decades, because you know the three of us have worked in politics. Generally, at this time of an election, you know, when people are voting or making decisions about voting, you want to be talking to them about things, that would be a good closing argument that may force them to vote for you. So every time he opens his mouth now or puts out one of these, not just, we make fun of these videos. People are going to die because of these videos, because like a third of the country is going to continue not to take it as seriously as they can. So for the life of me, I can't understand his theory of the race. Now, he did admit today that he was a senior citizen. So clearly his team has convinced him he's in danger with senior citizens. Clearly his team convinced him that he's in danger with suburban voters. Now his answer to that is just to say, Joe Biden's going to destroy the suburbs and, black and brown people are going to come live in your neighborhood, which is obviously both racist and bad politics. So I don't get it. Now, the question is his campaign, the people who are paid to try and get 270 electoral votes must be pulling their hair out, because I guarantee you that thing this morning was not planned. His team knows he needs to do these debates. So I think where we are, Nicole, is we're either just going to have one on the 22nd, or, Trump will somehow, with tail between his legs, do the virtual debate. But, now Biden's in the driver's seat. Trump's either got to, basically backtrack from what he said today, or we're just going to have one more debate, which, by the way, may be what Trump wants. He may say it's easier for me to have one, maybe not good debate, but better debate than the last one than two.
Both of you are sticking around. I have